you know something about Australia. It is a place unlike any other. 4,000 kilometres from east to west and 3,000 from north to south. Some parts can be very cold in winter and others are hot all year round. Australia has mountains, coastline, forests, deserts and vast areas with hardly any people, as well as modern, crowded cities.
It is a multicultural country. The students will find that it's a friendly country. Australians are quite open to assist students.
Parades in town where international students can go out in town and display their culture in town, which makes us feel part of the community and society here in Armidale.
If you're coming to Australia, don't just stay in one place. Travel around, look at the country, look at the beautiful sceneries, meet the lovely people. People are very nice here and they are very helpful.
Australia's geographic and cultural diversity mean that as you begin to research your new home online, you'll find differences in all of the major cities. There is tropical heat in the north and cooler climates in the south. You'll find cheaper accommodation in regional cities and excellent transport systems in the great cities on the coast.
Primarily, the students need to familiarise themselves with the institution that they're going to be studying with. They also need to get in contact with their regional coordinator. Also, they need to make sure that they obtain the right information from the AusAid post in their country and the institution before arriving.
We find a lot of Australia Awards students don't do homework in terms of the location of where they're going. So we find some of them are signing contracts, especially in terms of accommodation and mobile phones, without actually reading the fine print. It can be quite costly.
Looking at the weather pattern here, I can compare it with my country. This time around it's winter, even in my country it's winter. Except in Australia, it's a bit in extremes. When it's cold, it gets colder, and I'm not good friends with the cold.
There are a variety of websites available where you can find out more about Australia before you arrive. Many are listed in the pre-departure guidebook.
Adjusting to your new home and a busy study schedule will be challenging at first. It will take time to organise yourself. For this reason, we strongly recommend that if you are considering bringing your family to Australia, you wait. Take the first semester to get organised and adjust to your studies. You'll need this time to arrange suitable accommodation and find places in school and childcare.
I had them over after my first semester here. And I think that's a good way of doing it, having your family coming over after you have some experience on the ground.
I wanted to come here to make sure that I found the right accommodation. I wanted to come here to make sure the health insurance for myself and my family, were in place. I wanted to make sure that I find the appropriate school for my children.
I don't work because I don't have time. I'm studying and taking care of my children. So I really rely on my husband in my country to support me every month. Family will not afford to come here if only supported by the AusAid scholarship.
Your student contact officer can provide you with further information and assistance if you are planning to bring your family. The AusAid representative in your country will arrange and pay for your airline ticket. If you have a disability, you should advise the representative as soon as possible to ensure that the necessary provisions are made.
It's your responsibility to make sure you have a valid passport and visa while studying in Australia. We strongly encourage you not to come any earlier than 1 week before the start of your compulsory introductory academic program. Aim to arrive with enough time to recover from the effects of jet lag before that program begins. Before you leave home, check that you have all of the documents that you will need. Your passport with valid visa is the most important thing, of course. You also need to bring your letter of offer from AusAid. If you have a driver's licence, bring it. And if you have a medical history and any current prescriptions for medicine, bring those too. And of course, bring your travel tickets and itinerary. It is a good idea to have photocopies of all important documents and to keep these separate from the originals.
Photocopies of your visa, photocopies of your passports, photocopies of even your grades, letters from your landlord saying your country or family saying that you are a reliable person. All those type of documents would really help.
Remember that your travel is subject to weight restrictions on the aircraft, typically 20 kilograms. If you bring more, you will be subject to excess freight charges, and these are very high.
I was very careful, like when I was packing my stuff. I was allowed to bring only 20 kilos according to my flight schedule.
Travel light, but be sure to consider the season where you are arriving. Remember, you can buy most of the clothing and household items you'll need after you arrive.
Just bring with you your document and some of the stuff that for like clothing or something like that. But I think everything is available here in Australia.
When you pack, be aware that Australia has extremely strict quarantine regulations. It is most important that you do not attempt to bring any sort of plant material, animal product or food into Australia.
If you do, you must declare it at the airport. The quarantine officers will advise you whether you are allowed to take the items into the country. If you are caught with food or seeds or any other prohibited import in your luggage, you will pay large fines.
Many of our friends try to bring spices and things that they love at home and that they feel that they will not get here, and they just get into trouble.
I declared everything, every single step. So I didn't find any problem in quarantine or airport or with customs people, nothing. It was quite a bit good experience for me.
I wouldn't suggest anything for them to bring from home, because I think we get everything. There are Asian food, there anything that they want.
The allowances associated with your scholarship will be paid into your bank account, but you will need around $500 in cash to cover expenses for the first few days after your arrival.
Double check your ticket. Make sure you get to the airport in plenty of time and have a great flight.